We all know that the end game is the New World Order. And we all know that the EU, or the European Union, is one stage in that master plan. I found an interesting article while Googling things, and it's the face page or the front page of someone's Facebook account named Right On. And it's a pretty decent article describing what's really going on in the world today because of something called the Kalergi Plan. And I'm going to read their article to you. I don't think their first language is English, so there's a couple errors in here. So I have to carefully read it to you as not to make any mistakes. But it's full of very interesting information, and it kind of explains a lot about what's going on today. This is from May 7th, 2018. The Coudenhove-Kalergi Plan, the genocide of the peoples of Europe. Mass immigration is a phenomenon, the causes of which are cleverly concealed by the political elites. Multicultural propaganda is employed to falsely portray it as inevitable. In this article, we intend to prove once and for all that mass immigration is not a spontaneous phenomenon. What the elites try to present as an inevitability of modern life is actually the product of a plan conceived around a table and prepared over decades to completely change the face of our continent. Few people know that one of the main instigators of the process of European integration was a man who also conceived the genocide of the peoples of Europe. He was a sinister individual whose existence is unknown largely to the masses, but the political elites consider him as the founder of the European Union. His name is Richard von Coudenhove-Kalergi. His father was an Austrian diplomat named Heinrich Kalergi, with connections to the Byzantine family of the Kalergis, and his mother was a Japanese woman named Mitsu Aoyama. Thanks to Richard's close contacts with European aristocrats and politicians, and due to the network of relationships created by his nobleman diplomat father, Richard was able to work unseen away from the glare of publicity, and he managed to engage the cooperation of the most influential heads of state for his plan, making them supporters and collaborators for his, quote, project of European integration. In 1922, he founded the Pan-European movement in Vienna, Austria, which aimed to create a new world order based on a federation of nations led by the United States. European integration would be just the first step in creating a one-world government. His earliest supporters included Czech politicians Tomáš Masaryk and Edvard Beneš. Edward Bernays? No way. Probably not the same person. And the German Jewish banker Max Warburg, who invested the first 60,000 marks. The Austrian Chancellor Ignaz Seipel and the next president of Austria, Karl Renner, a famous name, Karl Renner, took early responsibility for leading the, quote, pan-European movement, and later French politicians such as Léon Blum, Aristide Briand, Alice de Gasperi, etc., offered their help. With the rise of fascism in Europe during the 1930s, the project of European integration was abandoned, and the pan-European movement was forced to dissolve. However, after the Second World War, and thanks to frantic and tireless activity and the support of Winston Churchill, the Jewish Masonic Lodge B'nai B'rith, and major newspapers like the New York Times, Kalergi managed to gain acceptance for his plan by the United States government, and later the CIA became involved in driving the plan towards completion. In his book, Praktischer Idealismus, Kalergi explains that the citizens of the future United States of Europe will not be the people of the old continent, but a new mixed breed, the products of thorough and widespread miscegenation. And we all know what miscegenation is. He states that the peoples of Europe should interbreed with Asians and other non-white races to create a multiracial population with no clear sense of tradition or identity, who would therefore be more easily controlled by the ruling elite. Kalergi proclaims the need to abolish the right of nations to self-determination and outlines the breakup of nation-states through the use of ethnic separatist movements and the destruction of nations themselves through mass migration. In order for Europe to be easily controlled by the future elite, Kalergi proposes the creation of a homogenous, mixed-breed population. And as to who should be the new elite, Kalergi is particularly illuminating on this point. And he goes on and says, "The man of the future will be of mixed race. The races and classes of today will gradually disappear due to the elimination of space, time, and prejudice. The Eurasian Negroid race of the future, similar in appearance to the ancient Egyptians, will replace the current diversity of peoples and the diversity of individuals." Basically wipe out everyone's individual culture. It's not surprising that the people that escaped from them became the spiritual nobility of Europe. Thus, the compassionate care given by Europe created a new breed of aristocrats. This happened when the European feudal aristocracy crashed because of the emancipation of the Jews due to the actions taken by the French Revolution. And that's the end of his quote. Although no textbook mentions Kalergi, his ideas are the guiding principles of the European Union. The belief that the peoples of Europe should be mixed with Africans and Asians to destroy their identity, to break down traditional ways of living and create a single mixed race, is the reason for community policies that promote minority interests in the EU. A prestigious prize is awarded every 2 years by the Coudenhove-Kalergi Foundation to Europeans who have excelled in promoting this criminal plan. Among those awarded with such a prize are Angela Merkel, another famous name, and Herman Van Rompuy. The facilitation of genocide is also the basis of the constant appeals from the United Nations, demanding that white Europeans accept millions of immigrants to help counter the low birth rate among Europeans. According to a report published in January 2000 by the Population Division of the United Nations in New York, under the title Immigration Replacement, a Solution to Declining and Aging Population, Europe will need to accept 159 million migrants by 2025. The citing of such precise numbers is evidence of a premeditated plan. Clearly, a low birth rate can easily be reversed with appropriate measures to support families, and it is equally clear that the introduction of alien genes will do nothing to preserve our genetic heritage, but destroy it. The consequence of current policies promoting multiculturalism and multiracialism is to create a weakened, disparate population without national, historical, or cultural cohesion. In short, the policies of the Kalergi Plan have been and still are the basis of official government policies intent upon the genocide of the peoples of Europe through mass immigration. G. Brock Chisholm, former director of the World Health Organization, demonstrated this well when he said, quote, "What people everywhere need to do is to limit births and promote mixed marriages between the different races. The outcome will be the creation of a single race throughout the world which can be directed by a central authority," unquote. If we look around us, the implementation of the Kalergi Plan seems to be at an advanced stage. We face Europe's fusion with the Third World. The plague of interracial marriage produces each year thousands of young people of mixed race, the children of Kalergi. Under the dual pressures of misinformation and humanitarian stupefaction promoted by the mass media, we Europeans are being taught to renounce our origins and to renounce our national identity. The servants of globalization are trying to convince us that to deny our identity is a progressive and humanitarian act, that racism is wrong because they want us all to be blind consumers. It is necessary, now more than ever, to counter the lies of the system, to awaken the revolutionary spirit amongst Europeans, and everyone must be made aware of this truth, that European integration amounts to genocide. We have no other option. The alternative is national suicide. The award of the Coudenhove-Kalergi Prize goes to President Van Rompuy. On November 16, 2012, the President of the European Council, Herman Van Rompuy, was awarded the Kalergi Prize during a special conference in Vienna to celebrate 90 years of pan-European movement. The prize is awarded every 2 years to leading personalities for their outstanding contribution to the process of European integration, aka white genocide. A decisive factor that helped him win the prize was the balanced way in which President Van Rompuy executed his duties in the new position of President of the European Council, which was established by the Treaty of Lisbon. He handled this particularly sensitive leading and coordinating role with a spirit of determination and reconciliation, while emphasis was also given to his skillful arbitration on European affairs and unfailing commitment to European moral values. During his speech, the president described the unification of Europe as a peace project. This idea, which was also the objective of the work of Kalergi himself after 90 years, is still important. The award bears the name of Count Richard Nicholas von Coudenhove-Kalergi, 1894 to 1972, philosopher, diplomat, publisher, and founder of the Pan-European movement in 1923. Coudenhove-Kalergi was the pioneer of European integration and popularized the idea of a federal Europe with his work. Among the winners of the award, the Federal Chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel, in 2010, and the President of Latvia, Vaira Vīk Freiberga, in 2006. It's all very, very interesting, guys. Question is, why does the world want to get rid of white people so badly?